Okay. So, down in the park, playing soccer with my boys. And at one point, what was the score? It was 10-3 or something, halfway through the game, right?
It was 10-14.
And then they came back and won it 20-19. We were playing to 20. And they came back and won it 20-19. All right, you whining Ron Paul guys. Now, the 5-year-old, at the point where it was like, at one point it was like 10-3 or something like that, he's like, I don't want to play anymore. I'm going to quit. I don't want to play. And his brother's like, no, we got to get our game on and get this thing. We're going to stop these balls, right? And the two of them against me, and I was kicking balls at him. I wasn't being nice about it. I was actually sending some balls their way. Not too rough, but, I mean, I wasn't giving them a chance, let's put it that way. They had to stop the balls or not. But the 7-year-old, the older boy, is, all right, we can do this. Come on, brother, get your game on. Quit fooling around. Okay.
I couldn't help fooling around.
So you guys that are talking about dropping out and third party and then it's like voter fraud. Yes, it's voter fraud. Is there any question it's voter fraud? There's no freaking question it's voter fraud. The mainstream media isn't covering. I just watched the thing where they show the clip and then they talk about anecdotal evidence of how much, you know, support he has. And, hey, you. Thank you. And yeah. Look, be quiet. I'm trying to make a video here. Okay? All right. Quiet on the set. I'm making videos.
I can't help it.
Okay. Yes, you can. Or else I'll help you. Okay.
No
so the see, you completely lose your train of thought when you got little boys running around. Where was I? So the point being is, okay, so I'm watching this clip with I can't remember the guy's name, and now I need to go find the clip. It'll be linked below. But basically, isn't the editing great? Like, oh, we'd only have anecdotal evidence. They would have let that commercial run for just a few more seconds that you would have seen the huge crowds. And then they clip Ron Paul like, oh, we need to get more voters to the polls. Well, obviously, but further on in that interview, he talks about, yeah, there's voter fraud, and yeah, it's very strange that, you know, you have 7,000 people show up, and then when it's voting day, you know, not so many people are voting. It's like they'll show up to Ron Paul for the rallies, but they don't understand that they need to go vote. Really? Right? Are you kidding me? Is that the story that they're trying to sell? That's the story that the mainstream media is trying to sell. Watch that video clip. And then the guy from the Ron Paul campaign, there's a lot of us that have had enough of that guy. There's no deals with Romney. None of us are voting for Romney. Do you understand? Not a damn one of us are voting for Romney. I mean, Santorum guys, they're not voting for Romney either. If you watched some of the things that happened toward the end of the their Santorum campaign, it was getting a little bitter there between Romney and Santorum. And his people are not just rolling over and going, okay, well then it's Santorum. And like I said, I have personal first-hand knowledge. If it's not Santorum, then it would be Ron Paul was their next best thing, which is painful to me. And Gingrich has no chance. It's as simple as that. You bounced a $500 check in Utah. Anyway, I mean, it's just great. And again, you got to take the good news with the bad news, or the bad news with the good with the bad, as we say. Because all this coverage or all this non-coverage, what it boils down to, but all this media where they completely block him out, and he's got 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people showing up, 3,000 people showing up, 8,200 people showing up to a town hall meeting. Right? And they're going to say it's 3,000 or 4,000. Get Romney. Where's Romney with 1,000 people? Where's Romney with 2,000 people? Show me a meeting where Romney has 5,000 people, mainstream media, you whores. Show me one. Because you can't. Because there isn't. Ron Paul, on the other hand, thousands of people showing up for him, and yet none of them go vote. And you guys can't say vote fraud. You guys don't have enough critical thinking skills to go, something's wrong here. State after state, we have all these caucuses. You're covering the Whitney Houston funeral and that whole thing, and not even well. And in Maine, there's voter fraud going on the Y. They have to do recounts and so forth, and that never makes the mainstream media news. And Ron Paul winning. Wherever we have Ron Paul with paper ballots and lots of coverage and lots of people watching, he wins by a landslide. Whenever it's computer ballots and nobody's watching, oh, suddenly the other guys win. Can't put two and two together there. We have tons of evidence of vote fraud. We have evidence on camera of delegate fraud and what they're doing to try and keep the delegates from voting for Ron Paul. And in Missouri, what do we have? We have them do the do-over, basically, for that Missouri caucus. And what happens? Ron Paul, clean sweep, cleans up the delegates. And then they're going to try and pull the delegates out. And you don't think we can get more delegates when it comes to the Santorum guys, where they're going to flip over to Ron Paul? Right? He hasn't released all of them, and you need to know that whole story, and I'll try and find a link down there. Because it's not like, oh, we're just going to scoop up every single delegate for Santorum. But a lot of those guys, because he suspended his campaign, he didn't quit his campaign, he didn't stop his campaign. So a lot of those guys, though, do become free agents, as it were, and they can vote for whoever they want. And they ain't voting for Romney. It's as simple as that. And then same thing, this convention is going to be a hot mess, and it's going to be great. This is the way a republic is supposed to work. This is the way it works. It's not supposed to be neat and orderly, and oh, we picked this guy out for you, and now we have, right? This is not what the Founding Fathers invented or envisioned. What our Founding Fathers knew was that government is dangerous, and it needs to be restrained by the Constitution and by the people. And the people, when they're doing self-governance, it's going to get messy. Because you put 5 guys in a room, and right there you got 5 different opinions. Now, what we have going on here is the greatest thing, because Americans are waking up in droves. Not only are they waking up to the fact that there's vote fraud, they're waking up to the fact that the mainstream media gives them no news at all. And when they do give you the news, it's edited and cut up. Got into a little tiff the other day about this whole Travon thing, and suddenly they didn't know. And this again, they didn't know that that one phone call had been edited, and so they heard that all they heard is that, he's black, and right? Okay, I don't have all the details on this. It looks to me like, neither do you. And if you recount the mainstream media story, it looks, what I first heard, I thought it was a 12-year-old little boy walking along, minding his own with his Skittles and his, right? And that's what they always do. They give you a couple of details so you know the story, with his Skittles and his can of Arizona iced tea. Great for advertising for that company. It's like product placement in the news. And some crazed, racist son of a bitch shot him while he was just walking on the street. That's exactly what it appears didn't happen. What it appears is a 17-year-old kid, not that cute little kid in the picture, tatted up and so forth. You go look for recent photos, because it's the internet age, and these kids take 1,000 pictures at a party, whereas I can't find hardly any pictures from when I was that age, because pictures like that are like gold and they get lost quickly. Because we had print and old school cameras, and you had to go develop it and stuff. And now it's all digital and on the internet instantly. Are there crap loads of pictures of this guy as a tatted Europe? Okay. And again, don't get me wrong, it's not right that just because he's a punk kid in a hoodie that's tatted up and whatever, doesn't mean you get to shoot him, right? And no, there's no excuse for that. And it does, but at the same time, I don't know all the details. I do know that at the time, that there wasn't enough evidence or enough, if we wouldn't have shined the light on this thing, they would never have charged him. But now I'm looking at that going, wait a minute, they charged him with second degree. You go look up the statute for Florida's second degree, and they're going to have a hell of a time trying to make that thing stick. So the guy might walk, he might skate. Whereas if they gave him a manslaughter charge, at least it would serve some time. Do you get it? And they're going to make a big deal of this. So watch how much ink and how much minutes on the news is going to be spent on this case, on this one case. And then if he gets off, how much is there going to be race riots? They'd love it if there was race riots. If they could get us to be now we're fighting with each other instead of uniting against them. How many times how many times have you seen black guys restrained in cuffs get shot, dead? And then they don't charge him. The cops walk scot-free. Is that story being blown up? I mean, and that's not just a story. That's many stories. You look through the news. Restrained, in handcuffs, shot dead, tasered to death. And what do we get? We get butt kiss. That's what we get. This Travon kid. Oh, he's a cute little kid in this racist shot. That's the story that's going to make the news, right? I mean, come on. You're getting played. There's war on the horizon. The Iranians and the Russians and the Chinese against the United States and the West. That's how they're trying to stack it up. In Syria, we got war going on. We got an economy that's crashing. And you guys are spending hours and hours on this cute little kid, who wasn't a cute little kid, is a 17-year-old, almost a man, in Florida. And yeah, it's a damn shame, and it's not right. But you're being played. It's a distraction. And what they're trying to do is whip up race in this country. It's the oldest thing. We weren't falling for the left-right paradigm. And more people, this is just like Coney, more and more people are starting to see through this thing. Now, does that mean that black people in this country shouldn't be outraged that this kid got shot? Hell no, it doesn't mean that. Right? But use some common sense. We've got bigger problems than birth control and gay marriage and one kid in Florida. Right? We got 17 kids in Philly just since the beginning of the year. Probably it's more than that now. How many kids in LA? Right? It's hundreds and hundreds of kids that get shot every year in this country. And nobody gets charged. Or they don't know who the perpetrator was. Or if it was a cop, nobody gets charged. They walk scot-free. And so this one case is that, oh, we've had enough. And no, it's the media playing you. It's the politicians playing you. Take your eye off the ball. Take your eye off of the economy. Take your eye off of the things that are really important and focus on this one issue. Right, and then they can use it as a distraction and all right, and here's another one that I put it in the last video that I made where we were talking about Wakefield and his doctor, and I don't have any windows open at the moment. I'm just doing an impromptu fast. We just got back from the park because it made me think, but that guy was completely and utterly exonerated. Wakefield's partner, I can't remember with the autism. Dang it, what's his name? Do you get a do-over? Do the mainstream media come back and go, oh, sorry, the guy was exonerated and he was reinstated and that whole thing was a smear campaign? Did they do that ever? Because I can tell you, on Facebook, you get into arguments. I have lots of friends. Like, I will admit when, okay, I got that wrong. Or they will admit, oh, they got that wrong. Or, oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay. Right? Or, oh, I thought it was this. And then they get more information and go, oh, okay, I see. That happens among us. The media never does that. The media never goes back and says, oh, we got it wrong. Here's the real story. You never hear that. You never hear we should have been telling you to sell when we were telling you to buy during the dot-com craze. Right? You never hear it. You never hear, oh, we didn't see it coming. Oh, we should have seen it coming. Right? Where they were going through the whole thing. They were trying to make it sound like there were plenty of people that saw it coming. Dr. Paul saw it coming. Right? Schiff saw it coming. I mean, on and on. Lots of people saw that coming. If you were in the blogosphere, you knew that the housing bubble was going to burst. And that it was definitely a bubble. Okay. The idea is that the mainstream media doesn't give you the news, doesn't correct itself. They'll tell you one story, and that's the story that you get, and they know it. They know that if you hear, you know, that one Travon Martin thing where they made it sound like the guy was a racist, and they edited it, and it was NBC, and they fired the guy. So what? Nobody hears that. All they hear is that, oh, that guy was a racist, and they called him black, and they needed to shoot him. Right? They don't hear the whole story. They don't hear that, you know, the guy. See, I can't edit on the media that I'm using right now. It's impossible. It takes forever to try and edit. So I don't want to stop and go look up the guy's name. But anyway, look down below. There'll be a link there. And it's annoying. But the point of the video is threefold. One, don't quit before the show's over. You don't stop in the middle of the race and start whining about, oh, they're cheating. The other guys are cheating. Yeah, the other guys are cheating. Yeah, there's vote fraud. So what? Keep working. Work harder. Expose the fraud. Get out there. You're doing a horrible job of letting the mainstream people know, the other guys know, what's going on. More work needs to be done. More people need to see that it's not conspiracy theory. That, yes, there's something wrong when thousands and thousands of people show up, and then when it comes to voting day, none of them went to go vote. And we have evidence of voting machine. And I mean, if you're voting on voting machines, right there, we have a problem. If you don't think there's vote fraud, you're out of your mind. And then the media isn't covering it, that's a good thing. But it's only a good thing if you expose them and shame them more than they already shame themselves. It's easy to do because they shame themselves every day. That one clip should be clear. And then the idea is that whenever they do get it wrong, they never go back and tell you they got it wrong. Now, you have to figure that out for themselves. They will their hubris is so great, they will never admit that they told you the wrong thing. Ever. Whatever it comes to, whether it's 911 or, you know, the autism thing or the Travon thing, or any kind of medical story, or the FDA, or any damn story where they got it wrong, they don't go back and correct it. Or they do put such a small correction that you'd have to be really seriously paying attention to get it. Anyway, the idea here is Ron Paul 2012. It ain't over. Get to work. Go get delegates. Go find Santorum guys and make this thing happen. We are only halfway through this. Ron Paul 2012. Don't be a 5-year-old and quit.